tortillas. Now, if you look at it, what's the difference between a regular loaf of bread and a flour tortilla? Right, the regular bread actually rose when it was baked. What causes that to rise? What caused the bread as it was baking to actually rise and plump up? Exactly, yeast. Now, I got a question for you. Is yeast just some powdered ingredient, or is yeast actually alive? Yeast is actually alive. Yeast is actually a microbe that actually helps us. Now, not all microbes help us, but there are some microorganisms that are beneficial to us. And yeast happens to be one of those, that it actually works for us and not against us. What you're going to do today is you're going to take a lab and you're going to start to really determine how alive yeast is, or if I'm just lying to you. All I'm going to give you is 200 milliliters of warm water, an empty water bottle, a balloon, and some sort of sugar. Now, I've got 3 different types that you're going to use. And all we're going to do with this is we're going to combine them all, and then we're going to find a way to actually measure what's going to happen. Now, what happens when you combine yeast with sugar? Well, yeast actually feeds off the sugar, and it's going to take the carbohydrates in the sugar and produce carbon dioxide. Now, that allows us to actually measure how much carbon dioxide is being respirated from the bottle, from the yeast and the sugar mixture with the water, and test it from here. And what we're going to do is, as this balloon expands, we're going to actually measure the circumference of the balloon and see how much carbon dioxide is respirated from this balloon, or from this mixture. So I'm going to sit here and just do one as a demonstration, and we're going to pour this right into the bottle, carefully not to spill. And we're also going to include the sugars. And I'm giving you packets of sugar, that way we make sure we get an exact amount, as opposed to scooping it out and being close. We want to be as exact as possible. Then we're going to take the water, pour it into the bottle. And I'm going to put this balloon on here, and then we're going to gently swirl the bottle to mix everything up. And as we do that, observe what's going to happen inside the bottle. Make sure we get everything mixed up together. There's actually some foam starting to build up in there. That's where the carbon dioxide is actually starting to be released, starting to be respirated. And it should begin to actually fill up our balloon. So let's just sit back and watch and see what happens. Now this may take a few minutes, so let's just sit and continue to let that work. As you can tell, you can look and see the balloon's actually starting to expand, which means it's actually getting the carbon dioxide up inside of it. If you look into your bottles, you can actually see things moving around. You can see the reaction actually happening. And the longer we leave this on there, the more carbon dioxide is actually going to be put into the balloon, which is going to expand its circumference. And what you're going to do is, every few minutes when I tell you to, you're actually going to take a tape measure and you're going to measure the circumference of this balloon. You're going to actually see how big it gets and find out how much carbon dioxide is actually respirated into the balloon and how much is released into the balloon. As you can tell, even just sitting here the last minute or so, it's starting to expand even more. And the more you watch and the more carbon dioxide is in there, the larger this is going to get. Now this will actually start to answer questions that you're going to put in your lab report. Is yeast actually alive? And if it is, how did it actually produce the carbon dioxide to inflate this balloon? And what sugars we actually put in there, what substitutes that we put in there that actually created more carbon dioxide or less carbon dioxide, and actually start to measure and differentiate between them. And all of this is going to go in your lab report, and all of this is going to go into the hypotheses that you put onto your paper, and we're going to work with from there. So let's get all this stuff passed out, let's get everything going, and we'll see what you can come up with.